This is every LEGO Simpsons minifigure ever released, including every version of every Simpsons character ever released. There's a total of 30 characters, 31 if you count Fall Out Boy Millhouse, 32 if you count Bartman, 35 if you count the 3 pets as characters as well. 48 minifigures are on display here, or 51 if you count the pets. So here I've organized things by variant and release. We have the Series 1 releases that were only one copy found in those series. Same with Series 2. Then we have the direct-to-consumer releases, where we have an exclusive Snake character from the Quickie-Mart, the 3 from the Krusty Burger, and then we have variants that came in CMF series as well as D2Cs. That's all of them except for Millhouse, because Millhouse is a character who only came in 2 CMF series. The other duplicate characters are a mix of characters who came in direct-to-consumer sets and CMF series. Yeah, at the very end we have the Simpsons family, which Homer, Marge, Bart, and Lisa have 4 different variants if you count their different pieces used. But the only one who has 4 different prints would be Homer. That is, unless you count the very slight differences on the 2025 Lisa. There's 4 different variants of Homer. We have the most recent variant from the Krusty Burger, which has a different collar design at the back, surprisingly enough. None of the other Homers have back printing, and I hope we get an updated classic Homer with that back printing. The design of this has a stain for the Rib Witch from Krusty Burger, which is hilarious. The legs are dark azure now compared to the different color that they used for the original 2 versions right here. But that is the same leg color as the Date Night Homer. Date Night Homer has the most different outfit from the 3, not using a white collared shirt this time. The design of the first Homer ever was this one from the Simpsons house, which is his work outfit. And then we also have the classic Homer design, which came in 3 sets, Simpsons Series 1, the Dimensions Pack, and the Lego Quickie-Mart. If you haven't caught on, the designs with the white bases are ones from the actual sets, while the black bases are from CMF series. So our first Bart was the one with the eye design looking to the side. This was from the Simpsons house in January 2014. This has no printing at the back torso because the one from later in 2014 for Simpsons Series 1 had an exclusive print on the back torso and short legs. That looks fantastic. Also note that Lisa and Bart from the Simpsons house set were some of the first minifigures to have those dual molded short legs, along with dual molded arms right there, which we also got with Homer from the house set at the time. Then there was a version for the Quickie-Mart, which they also used for the LEGO Dimensions pack, as well as the most recent release with the Krusty Burger. This one has no printing whatsoever, but we do have the same eye design from Series 1. And then we have this Bartman variant, which is a design that has a really cool dual molding with this purple up here. Well, I'm not even entirely sure it's dual molding. It seems like it could also be some printing or coloring at the top there. Whatever it is, it works excellently, but I am a sucker for the color purple. And one thing I always found fascinating about this figure was the use of the orange torso, which in my opinion looks more like Bart from the TV show. And using that with a regular Bart figure is my preferred version of Lego Bart, but they only ever used it for this Bartman version of Bart. There's 4 variants of Lisa Simpson, the first of which is the design from the Simpsons house, who uses the same torso as the version of Lisa Simpson that comes in the CMF series and the Quickie-Mart. This has an attachment for a backpack at the back, but the exclusive part is the eye design, where she has a different look from the other Lisa Simpson releases. This is the second version from the CMF series, which, yeah, there's not too much going on there. The third design is a different version from CMF Series 2 of Simpsons in 2015. This has her Sunday best outfit, and you can also notice a little ribbon at the top there. I really like this pink outfit. I think this looks great. This recent version is slightly different in the most minuscule of ways. This is from the Krusty Burger 2025 sets, 10 years since the last Lisa Simpson. The design here for the torso, I've noticed, has a little bit of a darker outline, but that's not the only difference. It seems like the eyelashes, if it's not just my copy, go over the eye this time around. Again, that might just be my copy having an error. But the biggest difference is one thing I didn't even notice in my Krusty Burger review, but I had a friend point out. The design for the skirt is a different skirt cloth piece. The other Lisa Simpson skirts have a 3-hole design, while this uses a 4-hole design. That makes it so that the skirt is fully enclosed all around, which, yeah, I think this looks better than the other skirt pieces, but I kind of just wish this was a print overall. There's 4 versions of Marge Simpson. The first one was from the Simpsons house set, and she has a gardening apron on, the design having a different torso print, a different skirt attachment, which has a little bit of that apron continuing there. I just don't really like how this lines up. I don't like the 3-hole skirt pieces, which you see with the original versions of the Simpsons figures. And her eye expression is different, where she looks like she's rolling her eyes. The second version is her most common version from Series 1 of The Simpsons. This is the same as the third version, which is the one from the Quickie Mart set. The only difference is that the hip piece for the leg piece underneath is white instead of a lime green. I don't know why that happens, but that also happens with the version from the Simpsons house, so I guess that's just a part that they print easier in regular sets as opposed to CMF parts. But yeah, same exact version between these two for the front and back torso printing. And then the last version was Date Night Marge, a design which has this really nice orange color. Also a skirt piece that surrounds with a little bit of a line going through it. I like the printing on there. I like the dual molded arms. While there's no new print for the face for the eyes, there's a new lipstick print. I almost forgot to point out that Marge has some interesting side earring printing, which is printed when we got molded earrings in Selma and Patty. So they didn't make a new headpiece for Marge, so that's why it looks a little bit weird with that printing right there. Honestly, it looks like a neck tattoo. I will also say, from this angle, the lipstick looks strange as well. I always found the top of this headpiece fascinating, where there's just this big hole up top. I think that's to prevent this from being a choking hazard with really small kids. Maybe I'm wrong there, though. Moving on to characters with only 2 variants. Yeah, there's no characters with 3 variants. We have Maggie Simpson. The first version was from the Simpsons house set, which would later be reused in Simpsons Series 2. And if you don't know how the Maggie Simpsons figure works, there's this very interesting torso piece that hasn't been used since this design. I always found that fascinating. Nowadays, we'd probably get like a tiny baby Lego piece for Maggie, which I can't wait to see if they do that for the next Simpsons set. But yeah, this makes her almost as tall as Bart and Lisa. It's such a strange choice, but I do think it works in some ways. But you do have that molded head, which was used once again for Simpsons Series 1, which is the only other variant of Maggie out there, where she has a face looking to the side right there. And you could see no back torso printing or anything like that. There's 2 versions of Krusty. We have the version that was from Simpsons Series 1 in 2014, but also the 2015 Dimensions pack. And then the Mother Nature Burger Krusty, which just came out in the Krusty Burger from 2025. This is the only character to get a completely different headpiece for the second variant. Very interesting change up between the two, but dang, do I wish we had a Krusty who had a closed mouth expression or a frowny expression. The classic outfit is translated perfectly in Lego form, in my opinion, with its very simple pink shirt design. You can see some back torso printing on the newer version, and no, you can't remove this hat up top. There's 2 versions of Chief Wiggum, one from Simpsons Series 1 in 2014 and one from the Quickie Mart in 2015. The differences being that the one from the Quickie Mart has these slight donut stains on there. I always love that design on the torso, and then the difference in the little headpiece right there, that just looks great. But yeah, there's not a difference with the rest of the figure here. Same side arm printing and same lack of torso printing at the back. You can see how there's also side arm printing on the other arm as well. Ned Flanders has 2 variants, one of which came out in January 2014 with the Simpsons house, where the difference between this one and the one that came in the Simpsons Series 1 variant from May 2014 would be the apron, which has "Hail to the Chef" on it. That continues on to the leg printing. But yeah, no difference in the eye designs, which I was always sad that out of all the characters in the Simpsons house set, Ned Flanders didn't get any variant in the eyes from his Simpsons Series 1 version. You can see no torso printing at the back of the Simpsons Series 1 version, but you do get some torso printing for the apron on the Simpsons House version. There's two Millhouse variants, that is if you count Fallout Boy as a Millhouse variant. The design of Millhouse in Simpsons Series 1 from 2014, and the design of Fallout Boy from 2015 Simpsons Series 2. It is the only character to get two variants and not appear in any of the 14+/18+ sets. The design of the 2014 version has that classic outfit, which I always loved that torso print. That was like the torso print I used to wear if I had a sig fig up until 2023. The design at the back, you can see, has no torso printing or anything like that. And then for Fallout Boy, there's a nice cape, no back torso printing or anything. And I like how the green printing goes all the way around to the back, just missing out on the glasses there. Like, that's some pretty good printing if you ask me. But you can see at the front that there's also a slight variant in the eye designs as well, with a little bit more of an angry, determined eye expression. I almost forgot to say, Millhouse actually first appeared in the Lego movie before the CMF series was even revealed, which showed this same exact version. That blew my mind back then. There's two variants of Apu. We have the version from Simpsons Series 1, and then the version a year later from the Quickie Mart. The differences come down to the torso and legs. The torso for the one in the Quickie Mart is his rarely seen clerk outfit, while the one from Simpsons Series 1 is his more traditional outfit that you see throughout the show. Well, now you don't see too much of Apu, and I wonder if we'll ever get a new Apu minifigure. Same headpiece for both of them with the same printing, and you can see that both don't have any back torso printing. I love the color on the torso for the Quickie Mart one. But that's it for characters who appear in multiple sets. Now we'll move on to the characters who only appear in one of the 14+ or 18+ sets, which are 4 minifigures, and 3 of them come in the Krusty Burger, 1 of them comes in the Quickie Mart. First of which is Sideshow Bob, a long-awaited character that just came in the Krusty Burger set. Love the elaborate new headpiece going on there with such a crazy amount of textured details for the hair. Like, that's such a cool piece. You could also see how the continuation of having collars at the back torso printing is present, along with Sideshow Bob, where we point that out with Homer in this series. But yeah, super cool minifigure in my opinion. And one thing I noticed with Sideshow Bob as well as Lou is that there's less of a texture with the mouth design. The mouth is just more smoothed off there. And that's less detailed than, say, the mouths and dimples that you find with some of the older figures, but in my opinion, it works. Lou is from the same Krusty Burger set, and I think they did an excellent job with the headpiece here as well. Seeing all those different colors captured excellently. You can see there's that police hat, there's a nice shine at the front of the police hat, texture detailed with the hair, printing for a mustache at the top right there. Great design, and you can see that continues to the back of the figure as well. And there's some back torso printing too, where you could see a continuation of the belt and a bit of a collar going on there. I also like the dual molded arms too. Squeaky-Voiced Teen has another fantastic molded head that's exclusive to the Krusty Burger. Love the detailing down to the teeth at the front. You have the pimples and everything, and a nice sculpt for the hat captured, which even has some texture at the top right there. We have a design with the back torso, and that gives more of a highlight to those belted, high-rising pants right there. Like, that's just a really funny design that you can see has some wrinkles at the back as well. I like how they continue the printing pretty smoothly from that leg piece. Snake Jailbird is one of the rarest Lego figures for Simpsons, because this is the only character who didn't appear in a CMF series for the original run of Lego Simpsons sets from 2014 and 2015. That headpiece was entirely exclusive, which was something that we rarely ever saw for direct-to-consumer sets back at that time, having exclusive minifigure piece. But I really love the sculpting there as well, and the printing. You can see how there's some facial hair at the bottom there as well at the top. Coloring for the earring as well. A great tattoo printed dual molded arm. It's one of the better minifigures from Lego Simpsons. Great sculpting with the hair as well, which continues to the back right there. So yeah, I wish more people could get Snake Jailbird, but it did give some more exclusivity to the Quickie Mart set. So we'll go through the Simpsons minifigure series characters, working backwards, starting with Series 2 from 2015. First of the characters is my favorite minifigure, probably from that series, which is Comic Book Guy. This is far from a perfect Lego minifigure, but I always found the capturing of this character fascinating. The detailing doesn't go for a 3D design for his more overweight look in the show. Rather, they capture that as printing on a 2D torso. So I was kind of hoping for bomb bore or some similar piece to be used with this character. But I do think that torso print is fascinating, where you have the belly showing there and then a little curved part right here in printing to illustrate the belly going forward, but it's on 2D printing, so it looks a little bit weird. This is also the only character not with short legs to have boots on. Like, yeah, I kind of wish we got shoes for Lego Homer and other characters, but you only get it with Comic Book Guy here with this interesting printing. These aren't even dual molded legs, which came out later that year in 2015. So you just kind of have it printed at the front there and at the side. And it looks weird too. Like, I don't know. I'm fascinated with this minifigure for just how strange some of the detailings they were trying to go with to capture this character came out in printing. You got dual molded arms as well. And his headpiece has some nice printing for the beard at the front. Well, I guess a goatee is the more appropriate term. Molding for the hair, which continues to a ponytail at the back. I also like the roundness to the bottom of that headpiece. Again, just a fascinating minifigure in my opinion. Professor Frink would be the third tallest Lego minifigure from the Simpsons line, behind Marge and Sideshow Bob. Also from Simpsons Series 2. I'll stop specifying that until we get to Series 1 figures. Really elaborate headpiece, which has some printing at the side for the parts of the glasses. Also, some interesting, not dual molded legs yet, but side printing for the legs, kind of like the Comic Book Guy that we just covered. But you can see it has some printing even on that middle hip piece. I like the printing on the torso there. And there's no printing, unfortunately, at the back of this figure. Simpsons Series 2 brought us Marge's sisters, and the design for Selma is a very interesting headpiece. Once again, like Sideshow Bob, such an elaborate texture going on there. And I like how we have details even down to the earrings at the side as well. And there's some printing for the torso, which looks neat. I like how she also has not a full open eye expression, but more of her signature, like lazy eyes, I guess you could say. Really frustrated eyes. And she uses a skirt piece like Marge's, which you could see has a little bit of an opening right there. Again, since this uses a 3-hole design. There's a minifigure for Patty. The design also having a really cool hair addition to that molded head. And once again, molded earrings, unlike Marge. Pink torso and skirt piece with an opening at the side right there. And those lazy / frustrated or annoyed eyes. Miss Krabappel also has those lazy or frustrated eyes, which captures her annoyed character in the show. I do miss this character. The design having a fun torso print. Very elaborate headpiece as well, which has slight earring molding too, which looks great. Love the detailing with the hair, which you can see some ridges at the back right there. I really do hope that we get a Springfield Elementary set, but I'm not sure they'll include her since, she passed away in the show. We'll probably get Bart's new teacher in that set. And once again, a 3-hole skirt piece, which leaves that little gap right there. I'm glad that we got that new version of Lisa to prevent that gap. Groundskeeper Willie is one of those fan favorite characters, also appearing in Series 2. Shoot, I said I'd stop saying that. The headpiece reminds me a bit of Animal's headpiece from the Muppets series. I like seeing the detailing of even having those teeth right there, which are a little bit molded. It looks like they're printed, but no, they do have a slight raise in the beard design. I also loved getting the side arm printing for the arm hair right there. That works excellently. And you can see at the back a continuation of that great hair design. I'm sure we'll probably get him in the Springfield Elementary set that I'm dreaming up right here. Please be a 2026 release! Dr. Hibbert came out in 2015 as well. The design of the character having a forced-on grin there, which honestly works for the character. Like, yeah, that fits the character more than Krusty the Clown. This design having a great torso and leg printing. Once again, I got to reiterate, this is before they had dual molded regular legs, so that's just printing all the way to the side right there. Literally, if they waited like one season, they could have dual molded regular legs. Maybe they should have brought that out with Simpsons Series 1. Always found the headpiece for this pretty hilarious, honestly, but I do love the sculpting there. Simpsons Series 2 brought us Hans Moleman, who is a great background character. I'm so glad we got a Lego minifigure for him. This headpiece is very elaborate in its old, wrinkly design, and I like seeing the rounding at the back there, which, yeah, there's some great texture. You can see how there's like a little bit of a lump at the top right here. That turned out perfectly in my opinion. But yeah, not too much else to say about the Hans Moleman minifigure. Just came out fantastic in my opinion. And I'll be honest, Martin was probably the one character that I was like, okay, we're getting Martin in Simpsons Series 2. Alright, I mean, yeah, I guess he's kind of a decent background character, supporting character. I mean, he has more storylines than I think Moleman does. But yeah, it's just not a super interesting character in my opinion. The sculpt on him is great. I do like seeing the ridges at the side of the hair right there and that little spike of hair at the back, which came out great. I also like getting the dual molded short legs with an orange design. That was very welcome. I'm not sure we've gotten that since. So yeah, decent minifigure. It's just like a character I don't really care about. Smithers was a minifigure I kind of wish we got in Simpsons Series 1. He's one of my favorite Simpsons characters, and we got Burns in Series 1. They're the perfect duo. The design having another elaborate headpiece. You know what? I think every Lego Simpsons headpiece is elaborate, especially the ones with glasses like Smithers over here. I like seeing that hair part as well, which reminds me of some Lego hair pieces that we got later on, like the Zane Ninjago movie one, or earlier on, like that one spiky hair. So it was cool seeing this as a molded minifigure part for a specific character's headpiece. But yeah, great minifigure, and I also loved his accessory of the Malibu Stacy doll. That was fantastic. And moving on to Simpsons Series 1, I'm noticing that there's only 6 characters who didn't appear in any other set from Simpsons Series 1. The design of Scratchy introduced this tail piece to the world, which I absolutely love. This is a rubbery piece, and we'd see that used again in series like the Looney Tunes series for Sylvester. I love the headpiece as well, which was one of the few Simpsons headpieces to be rubbery. This isn't a hard plastic, but it works great. The tongue sticking out is fantastic. I was still amazed that they had Itchy and Scratchy in Lego form because they're such violent characters, but we got quite a few allusions to Itchy and Scratchy, like with the Simpsons level pack for Dimensions having a 2x2 tile print. But yeah, fantastic minifigure in my opinion. And this is another minifigure that I would say has a rubber head, but honestly, maybe I shouldn't use rubber head for characters like Scratchy and Mr. Burns. It's probably a softer plastic. I don't know, let me know in the comments. The design for Mr. Burns is the only human character to have that material for the headpiece. I guess that comes down to the pointy nose right there and some regulations so that kids don't get hurt by a pointy nose or the pointy spikes on Scratchy's design. There is a little bit of, I guess, some coloring differences with this character compared to other Simpsons humans. But you can see it's a lot less shiny with that softer plastic. I don't know. I don't think it works fantastically for Mr. Burns, and I always wish this was a character with a harder plastic, but it feels like a nitpick even saying that. It's not a big deal at all. This is actually the rarest minifigure from Simpsons Series 1. Even when it came out, it was like the priciest of the bunch, because I don't think there was a lot that came in the box, and a lot of people wanted that green torso as well. But yeah, fantastic character, and definitely one of my favorites from The Simpsons show. Abe Simpson only appeared in Simpsons Series 1, which I always found surprising. I thought they would have thrown him in the Simpsons house set as opposed to Ned Flanders, but I'm glad they threw in Ned Flanders because there's not too many variants you could really do with Abe Simpson. I say that, but I'm sure in the comments you could point out a billion different variants of Abe Simpson, and I guess go and do that. Another one with the lazier eyes right there, where it isn't opened all the way, fits perfectly for the character. I always like the color of the torso right there, which is close to one of the flesh colors for minifigures. Having some printing at the front there, that looks kind of weird when you put that in that context, but works perfectly for the world of Simpsons with characters with yellow skin. Love the wrinkles on this figure, kind of like Hans Moleman, which you can see has some fat bulging at the bottom of the head. Again, great texturing going on here, even with a little bit of spiky hair at the very top. This is one of the best headpieces for a Lego Simpsons figure, just how well that molding came out. But yeah, absolutely love this character and love the minifigure. Great addition to Series 1. And you have Scratchy's tormentor, Itchy. This character having another soft plastic head there. See, I didn't say rubber this time. Love the torso print, which uses that orange color that we saw with the Bartman minifigure and the Marge from Simpsons Series 2. I wish I saw that on more minifigures. A little bit of bad printing with how that kind of cuts off with the torso right there. You can see the orange at the bottom, but it's a very minuscule mistake. At the back, no torso printing, but you do have some more detailing with the headpiece right there. And at the very top, you can see some spikes of hair. Ralph Wiggum is one of my favorite Simpsons characters as well, and I'm glad we got him in Series 1 because I don't know if I put him on my bingo card for who I thought would appear in Simpsons Series 1. But I do love the headpiece here, which has a very nice roundness that almost looks like a pumpkin to it. And printing for the hair that looks trippy when you look at it from the top right there. Very simple torso design, and I think he's the only child character from Simpsons Series 1 that doesn't have dual molded legs, but that fits the character. And our final Simpsons figure is my least favorite, Nelson Muntz. The design of Nelson is just so off compared to the character. There's a lot of mistakes that were made here. I don't think this headpiece captures the character's look from the show really well. And then the sizing for the character is one that desperately needed mid-legs. But mid-legs wouldn't come out until, 2018? This was a 2014 series. So, yeah, the short legs just do not work for this character, and it looks very out of proportion. I like Nelson in the show, but I just don't think the figure translated well for that head design and that height. I mean, honestly, the head design looks more like Eddie's face, sans the hair, than it does Nelson from the show. I mean, look how small he is compared to Bart. If we do get a Springfield Elementary, I'd love to see an update for Nelson. And I might as well mention the 3 animals that we got in the Lego Simpsons minifigure series. There's Snowball, which is technically Snowball 2 from Simpsons Series 2. This came with the Lisa Simpsons minifigure of the series. There's Santa's Little Helper from the first episode of The Simpsons Ever. This came with the Maggie minifigure from Simpsons Series 2. And then we have Blinky the Three-Eyed Fish, who's printed on a minifigure head. This came with the Mr. Burns minifigure from Simpsons Series 1. That is every physical minifigure of characters from Lego Simpsons. However, there are some non-physical minifigures that appeared in the Brick Like Me Simpsons episode. So many to list that I won't even go over those. There are some that appear in LEGO Dimensions, which would be Mayor Quimby. And then in the files of LEGO Dimensions, there was Barney, but that never made it into the final game. And then if you want to go as far as to include minifigures who were regulated to stickers, there's a bunch of characters who appeared in photo frames that were prints or stickers for different products in universe. But then there's Jasper, who was frozen in the Quickie Mart freezer, who is the physical character in universe. It's just that he doesn't have a minifigure. He has a sticker design illustrating his frozen state. That's very clever by LEGO. I would have preferred if this was a minifigure stuck in the fridge there, but I like the reference to the joke in universe. And it's weird to get a character who's regulated to a sticker despite being a physical appearance of that character. So that's all I have to say about the Simpsons minifigures. Let me know which of these are your favorites, which you like the least. Do you agree with some of my takes that I expressed briefly in this video? Subscribe here for more LEGO Simpsons content. Check out my Krusty Burger review, which is 40 minutes long. Subscribing, liking, and commenting really helps out with the algorithm, which is pretty hard on this channel. And I'll see you later. Thank you for watching.